This is 50 shocking and weird facts about smartphones. Some you probably never heard of.
The Falcon Supernova iPhone 6 Pink Diamond holds the record as the world's most expensive smartphone, valued at an incredible $48.5 million. It's based on a standard iPhone 6, released in 2014. It's also coated in 24-karat gold and embedded with a massive pink diamond on the back.
The term app is short for application and was popularized by Apple's App Store in 2008.
Just imagine that. The first iPhone, 2007, couldn't send MMS text.
Nomophobia, short for no mobile phone phobia, is the modern fear of being without your smartphone. Symptoms include anxiety, rapid heartbeat, restlessness, and even sweating when the phone is lost, dead, or out of signal.
Did you know you can find gold in your phone? A single smartphone contains about 0.034 grams of gold, worth roughly $2.
The IBM Simon, released in 1994, was the world's first smartphone, featuring a touchscreen and email capabilities. The IBM Simon cost $899 in 1994, equivalent to about $1,800 today. Smartphones contribute to 50 million tons of e-waste annually, and only 20% is recycled.
Smartphone production relies on conflict minerals like cobalt, often mined unethically in the Congo, Africa. Today, about 60% of the world's cobalt supply comes from Congo.
Manufacturing one smartphone emits about 80 kilograms of CO2, equivalent to driving 400 miles.
Snake on Nokia phones is one of the most played games in history. Why? It was included on over 400 million Nokia devices. It didn't need internet, updates, or extra installs. Super simple controls, just the arrow keys. Addictive gameplay that kept people hooked trying to beat their own score.
The average person checks their phone 96 times a day.
Some smartphones have thermal imaging cameras, which detect infrared radiation instead of visible light. This lets you see temperature differences even in total darkness. The iPhone has more computing power than NASA's 1969 computers. The Apollo guidance computer had a processor running at 1 megahertz, memory of 64 kilobytes, and no storage. Programs were hardwired into rope memory.
In 2015, Ben Slater, a tech enthusiast from Sydney, Australia, made headlines when he had an NFC chip implanted into his hand. What he did with it? He programmed the chip to unlock his Android phone just by tapping his hand and store digital info like contact details and business cards.
Smartphone chips in 2025 use 3-nanometer transistors, smaller than a virus. Creating 3-nanometer chips requires extreme ultraviolet lithography, a cutting-edge process costing billions to develop. Only TSMC, Samsung, and Intel produce these chips at scale in 2025. And they can hear you. Apps can activate your microphone remotely even when the phone is off. In 2013, Edward Snowden's leaks revealed NSA programs that could remotely activate phone microphones.
Text neck syndrome from prolonged smartphone use causes chronic neck pain. Holding a smartphone at a 45-degree head tilt exerts about 49 pounds of force on the neck compared to 12 pounds in a neutral position. Some phones were hacked to mine cryptocurrency and drain batteries in hours. In 2017-2018, the CoinHive script was widely used to mine Monero via browsers on smartphones, often without users' knowledge. Some apps on Google Play were caught embedding mining code, leading to their removal.
Smartphones has been used to discover new species via photo apps. A new-to-the-world freshwater shrimp was discovered in 2017, and a rare fungus species was named after the iNaturalist app after being documented through user photos in Brazil.
There are over 8 billion mobile phones in the world, which is more than the world's population and far more than toilets in the world.
The iPhone 5s's fingerprint scanner, known as Touch ID, was hacked just days after its launch in 2013 by the Chaos Computer Club. The hacker group from Germany created a latex mold of the fingerprint from a high-resolution photo lifted from a glass surface and used it to unlock the device in under 24 hours.
In 2006, Selena Aarons from Florida received a $201,000 phone bill from T-Mobile. after her mute brothers racked up charges using her phone for text messages and video downloads while traveling in Canada. The bill, equivalent to a house's cost, stemmed from exorbitant roaming fees, up to $2.50 a megabyte, and no data cap warnings.
Smartphones often include Easter eggs. Android Easter eggs are hidden features in each version, accessible by repeatedly tapping the Android version in the About Phone settings. Android 13's has a spaceship minigame, Android 12's color palette animation, and Android 11's cat collecting game triggered by dialing a specific code.
75% of adults say it's okay to use phones while walking or waiting in line, but not in meetings or church.
Samsung is older than you think. It was founded in 1938 as a grocery trading company in Korea, selling noodles, dried fish, and produce. Electronics came decades later. The first SIM card was invented by Giesecke de Vries, a German smart card manufacturer, in 1991. It was the size of a credit card, about 85 by 54 millimeters. Over time, it shrank into mini SIM, micro SIM, nano SIM, and now eSIMs. The very first commercial SIM cards were sold to Radiolinja, a Finnish wireless network operator, which launched the world's first GSM network in 1991.
Over 30% of smartphone users have lost their device at least once.
Pokémon Go, a smartphone-based augmented reality game, became a global phenomenon in July 2016 with 500 million downloads. However, it led to accidents and crimes. The game caused 145,000 traffic accidents and 29 deaths in the US alone.
80% of people check their phones within 15 minutes of waking up.
Smartphone water resistance ratings typically cover freshwater exposure under specific conditions, like submersion up to 1.5 meters for 30 minutes. But saltwater damage excludes your phone from warranty.
The first ever MP3 phone was made by Samsung. Before Apple's iPod boom, Samsung launched the SPH M2100 in 1999, the world's first mobile phone with MP3 playback.
A used smartphone can harbor 18 times more bacteria than a toilet seat due to constant handling. The average person touches their phone 2,617 times a day, transferring skin oils, sweat, and microbes. Simply, toilets are disinfected more often than smartphones.
Did you know that North Korea produces its own branded smartphones? Brands like Arirang, Pyongyang, and Marusan, running modified Android, restricted to the state internet, and feature surveillance tools like screenshot logging. They're sold only domestically and costing $150 to $750.
Siemens, from Germany, in the late 1990s and early 2000s, was one of the world's top 5 mobile phone makers, competing with Nokia, Motorola, and Ericsson. They made some of the weirdest phones ever. Siemens experimented with unusual designs. The Zelibri line 2003 to 2004, which looked like futuristic gadgets or fashion accessories instead of normal phones. Or the Siemens SK65, which had a rotating keyboard that unfolded into a full QWERTY cross shape.
The world's first SMS was sent on December 3, 1992, by Neil Papworth, a 22-year-old engineer in the UK. It was sent from a computer to a Vodafone Orbitel 901 mobile phone. The message simply said, "Merry Christmas." At the time, phones couldn't type out messages, they could only receive them. In 2021, that very first SMS was even auctioned as an NFT, and it sold for about $121,000.
Have you ever drive a Samsung car? Samsung Motors was launched in the 1990s. Unfortunately, that was the exact time of the Asian financial crisis, which hit South Korea especially hard. The timing was terrible, and the car division racked up huge debts. In 2000, Renault bought a majority stake in Samsung Motors. Today, it still exists, mainly producing sedans and SUVs for the South Korean market.
World's first color screen phone? Siemens released the S10 in 1997, which had a 4-color display. It was primitive compared to modern phones, but revolutionary at the time. Smartphone and internet addiction has become such a widespread issue that some countries actually run rehab-style treatment centers for it, especially for young people. China has hundreds of digital detox camps and military-style rehab centers. In South Korea, the government runs rehabilitation boot camps where kids spend weeks away from screens. Apple's iPhone line alone brought in about $200+ billion in 2022, out of Apple's $394 billion total revenue. That means the iPhone by itself makes more money than most entire corporations. In 2022, iPhone revenue was larger than the total revenue of companies like Coca-Cola, $43 billion, Nike, $49 billion, Netflix, $31 billion, and McDonald's, $23 billion combined. If iPhone were a company, it would rank in the top 20 of the Fortune 500 by revenue. Apple owns a patent for a paper bag. In 2016, Apple patented a paper shopping bag made of recycled material with a special reinforced handle. Yes, even their bags are patented. Google Android versions are named after desserts like Kit Kat, Cupcake, or Oreo. The average person spends 4 to 5 hours daily on their phone. Over a lifetime, that's about 10 years spent on a smartphone. The Nokia 3310, launched in 2000, has become legendary as the indestructible phone. Built like a tank, it could survive drops, water splashes, and even being run over in some cases. Battery life lasted up to a week on a single charge, something modern smartphones can't. The term selfie was first used in 2002. It appeared in an Australian online forum post by Nathan Hope, who described a photo he took of himself after a drunken fall. Sorry about the focus, it was a selfie. The word gained traction with the rise of social media and smartphone cameras, officially entering the Oxford English Dictionary in 2013 when it was named Word of the Year.
The first camera integrated into a mobile phone appeared in the Kyocera Visual Phone VP210, released commercially in Japan in May 1999. This device took fantastic 0.11 megapixel photos.
Motorola, as many people knew it in the 1990s-2000s, isn't the same company anymore, but the brand lives on. What happened? In 2011, Google bought Motorola Mobility for $12.5 billion, mainly for its patents. In 2014, Google sold Motorola Mobility to Lenovo for over $2.9 billion. Lenovo kept the Moto brand because it still had huge recognition worldwide. Today, Motorola is strongest in Latin America, especially Brazil, where it's often the #2 smartphone brand. It's also gaining ground in India with budget and mid-range phones. If you're looking for the smallest phone at absolute size, the Zenko Tiny T1 takes the crown as the world's smallest functional mobile phone. It measures just 46.7 by 21 by 12 millimeters, weighs a mere 13 grams, and provides basic calling and SMS via 2G plus Bluetooth. First Apple logo wasn't the Apple you know. The original 1976 Apple logo showed Isaac Newton sitting under a tree with an apple about to fall on his head. It was replaced within a year by the bitten apple we know today. The bite in the Apple logo has nothing to do with eating. Designer Rob Janoff added the bite to the apple so people wouldn't confuse it with a cherry or tomato. The fact that bite is a computer term was just a happy coincidence. Banana phone? Why not? Literally a yellow banana, or at least shaped like one. This quirky handset connects via Bluetooth to your primary device and gives you about 10 hours of talk time, equal parts functional and prank-worthy. When Steve Jobs wanted to name iPhone an iPhone, the iPhone name was already taken. Cisco owned the trademark iPhone for its VoIP phones. Apple and Cisco had a legal spat, but settled quickly so Apple could use the name. Thanks for watching this video. If you like it, give me a thumb up. If you want more videos like this, subscribe to OddStats, and you will never miss next video.